Hello, good evening, and welcome to tonight's edition of Daily Record Hotline Live. Myself, Keith Jackson, in the studio. I'm joined by Scott McDermott. Very shortly, in a few minutes, we're going to be joined by special guest Ryan Stevenson, who's written a great column in today's newspaper, which we will talk about in terms of Hearts and where they stand in this season's battle for domestic supremacy, and a whole other host of topics that I thought were really interesting. I've got to start the show tonight, Scott. We've just posted online a bit of breaking news. On last night's show, mentioned that there was some back channeling going on already, people jostling for positions, people that want to or consider themselves as candidates for replacing Russell Martin if Rangers take decisive action this weekend or at any time after that. What followed was quite interesting last night, Scott. The club reached out, and I think they want it known that yes, while they accept that they have received a number of CVs and a number of contacts from agents representing people, they want it known that the official position from Rangers is it's a one-way conversation. Rangers are neither seeking these conversations nor indulging in them. And it just, I said last night, it kind of adds to the position of peril that Russell Martin is in. What's your take, Scott? Are you surprised? If you're Rangers right now, have you not got, should the succession start not already be well underway, the succession planning? If you felt that you were in a situation where if you had to pull the trigger on Russell Martin on Sunday, and clearly Rangers are saying that they're completely supportive of him right now, but if they get knocked out of the League Cup quarter-finals by Hibs, are we seriously to believe that Russell Martin survives that and that they don't need to start engaging with other people? I would have thought, I find it strange, Scott, and I did point this out last night in the conversation I was having. Okay, happy to make it clear that Rangers aren't entertaining these discussions right now, but in the next breath, astonished, and I think a lot of Rangers fans will be astonished to hear that they're not at least having some sort of exploratory talks with people that might be available and might be ready to step in.
Well, first of all, when you mentioned the fans there, I mean, they'll be devastated to hear that, given the strength of feeling at the moment towards Russell Martin. I'll be surprised, disappointed at that. My own view, Jack, what I said last night, I mean, if Rangers, they might know, you maybe wouldn't want to make it public, obviously, something like this, but if Rangers and Kevin Thelwell in particular aren't kind of sounding people out or speaking to them privately,
job.
I mean, well, look, if that's the case, then I've got the whole sporting director role wrong then, because I was under the impression, having listened to a lot of people in the game in the last 5 to 10 years when sporting directors have really come to the fore at clubs, that was a massive part of the job, that succession planning. I've been told by people that the sporting director's job is to see round corners. He should really know, if everyone's aligned at a club, he should really know not just who the next manager will be, but the one after that as well. Because
and he probably should have got 3 potential guys lined up for
correct.
Right away. If something happens tomorrow, there's where we're going. They've got these 3 now. Can we get the top one? No. Can we get the second one? Difficult. Third one. All these things, a properly run football club should be prepared, and the ducks should be in a row.
Yeah, that's why, Jack, I think it's very rare now. You see a manager lose his job and then it takes ages to get a new guy in. At the top clubs, when a manager goes, the next one's normally in place within days. I mean, off the top of my head, I'm just thinking, most recently, obviously, Nuno Espirito Santo goes at Forest, and Big Ange was in within a couple of days. Forest knew who, or Marinakis knew exactly who he wanted, and it was done. So, in that sense, it surprises me just because of the situation that Rangers find themselves in. I mean, I said last night, even if a club is doing well and a team is doing well, I still think it's the sporting director's job to be thinking, I need to know who the next guy is going to be, because
in case somebody comes and pinches him.
Exactly. If they're doing really well, somebody could come in and take him. So Rangers, it's the flip side. Obviously, it's going really badly. Russell Martin's under massive pressure. The fans want him out. if I'm the sporting director or the CEO or whoever at a club, you have to be thinking. You have to be thinking a few weeks down the line here and how this is going to look and how quickly you can get or try and get the guys or the guy that you want. So, in that sense, it surprises me. And as I said at the start, I think the fans will be gutted at that.
It's a dereliction of duty if they're not doing it, Scott. It's as simple as that. Given how high the stakes are, and we expect Andrew Kavanagh, the new owner, to be in town, back in town this weekend for the game against Hibs, and that's going to give him an opportunity to get a feel and gauge the temperature on the ground. And it's been pointed out to me, Scott, in terms of ticket sales, the place is going to be lying half empty at the weekend unless there's a rapid uptake between now and the weekend. Tickets, I think, for the Europa League games aren't shifting. This is a problem that they can't just stick their head in the sand and pretend isn't happening, but that seems to be the case. Although I do get it, I understand, they want the message out there that everybody's aligned and everybody's together and they're all behind Russell Martin. But I don't know how that plays or how that washes with a Rangers support that, pretty unanimously seems to have decided that they need change, and change is a matter of urgency.
Look, there's protests planned for Saturday outside the front door at Ibrox, I think 4:30, 4:15. I mean, I'm assuming that'll be roughly when the team bus is arriving. So players and Russell Martin will have to experience that at the weekend. And I think that shows how serious this is. I mean, listen, you can be support in the background. You can show as much support as you want to the manager and talk about togetherness and we're aligned and we're totally behind it and things will get better and we'll eventually get it right. But if there's if the punter's at the front door demanding that he goes, you've got a big problem. We keep, quite rightly, we keep getting told fans are clearly the most important people at the football club. The Americans know that. Patrick Stewart knows that. Russell Martin knows that. So if that's a big protest, which I think it probably will be at the weekend,
and a noisy one,
it's a major problem, irrespective of how can I staunch, if you want, for I can't think of a better word than that. Behind the manager and try to support him. As I say, you can put that out there and be as strong as you like. If there's guys at the front door or punters at the front door, then you've got a major issue.
Might backfire. Listen, we'll come back to this because loads of comments coming in, and the story's just breaking. I want to bring in Ryan Stevenson. Ryan, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're the busiest man in football. Every time we catch up with you, you're at a training session or going to a game. How are?
That's the joy of having two boys. United tonight. United.
Listen, Ryan, I wanted to speak to you. Thanks for coming on. I wanted to speak to you. I thought your column was excellent today. It's had a big reaction as well. And it's not unrelated to some of the stuff that Scotty and I have just been talking about. I think first and foremost, Ryan, talk us through it. You kind of said from the start that, you've kind of lost your way with football a little bit, kind of fallen out of love with it over the last 4 or 5 years. But something is happening now at Tynecastle that you're starting to feel re-engaged again. Talk us through that, right?
Yeah, I think over the last 4 or 5 years, I think all of us have seen that the data side of it and the stats side of it plays such a big part in nowadays football. Along came VAR, and it obviously still playing a massive part in the football as well. And for want of a better word, I'm a bit of a dinosaur, mate. And I think that I enjoy just the fact that it's a very simple game, and I think it's totally overcomplicated now. And I'm not saying it all by fools, but I think majority it's fools that have managed to weasel their way into the game. I think what they try and do, and I think what the biggest travesty is, they try and pull the wool over the fans' eyes, and it's the fans that make football, and it's the fans that pay the money.
Some mystic thing, some incredible thing that you just don't understand, but
they try and make it, as I said, me and you have spoken about it before, all these buzzwords about finding pockets in holes and doing this and that. Do you think Brian Laudrup, when he's playing at Rangers, never found a pocket? Or Gaza never Gaza never played between the lines, or Paul McStay,
Yeah.
or whoever it may be.
Yeah.
I hate it, mate. I absolutely hate it. I despise it. I despise when I listen to people and they say the same thing about low blocks and this. It's just a defender's defending. Please, can we just go back to a defender defends, a midfielder runs about, and a striker scores goals.
But the point in all of that, Steve, was that you're saying you can see that is what is making Derek McInnes, or what you always felt made him the outstanding candidate, and what people perhaps are starting to look over at Tynecastle, sit up, pay attention, and think, "Oh my God, something might be happening here."
They were so sceptical. They've been sceptical, and again, that goes back to the people behind the scenes, the stuff that Rangers are going through. Hearts went through that when I think they gave Nazy the job too quickly for Nazy and his kind of managerial or coaching career. They then went down the route of having all the stats and Neil Critchley coming up and all that sort of stuff. And I said it, I banged the drum that Derek McInnes is a football man. He's worked under one of the best managers that we've had in Scottish history, in Walter Smith, Archie Knox. He's learned off the bet. He's got a array of contacts in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Why not give him the chance? And other than Bristol City, everywhere he's went, he's done well. He is a good manager.
Yeah.
And he just is black and white. There is none of this stupid stats stuff. He comes out and he'll say it as it is. I mean, when they were away to Livingston, they won, they scored a last minute goal to win, and he just came out and he said, "Look, I'm grateful we've won, but it wasn't good enough. We need to do better." He said it as it is. And if I'm a fan, I'm going home in the car with my pals, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because we understand it.
I'm glad we've won, but we need to do better. It is genuinely simple. And for Hearts just now, listen, obviously my column, I touched on it. It's great for Hearts, but I think Rangers missed the boat with it. And I think they'll continue to miss the boat with it, because I think what they'll do is, if Russell goes at some stage, they'll go and look for somebody else who will probably do all the stats and tick all these stat boxes. When on it, and I said it to you when I spoke to you yesterday, the first thing I would do is I would either bring Barry back, because did he merit having an extra chance at it? Probably. Or if they've got anything about them, they would drive up the M8 and they would tap Hearts' door and say, how much?
Well, this is what you said, Nicole. And let's be honest, Rangers should never have allowed that to happen. You're talking here about the fact that Derek McInnes became Hearts manager in the summer. And even now, if they had the balls, they'd pay their own manager off and get on the phone to Tynecastle asking for the size of the compensation package, but they won't. They should have made that move when Philip Clement was being binned last season, but they didn't. Derek should have been in the home dugout on Saturday, but he wasn't. People might laugh, but Derek, if Derek did take that job, the first thing he would do is get back to suits and brown brogues. He'd drag the whole club straight back to what he remembered as a player, and they'd be all the better off for it. Do you feel that Rangers are guilty of perhaps of doing a little bit of what Hearts have done for a while? Yes. Ryan, look for the cosmic mystic solution.
Yeah,
ignore the obvious.
When the answer's right in front of your face. I think like anything, Russell's obviously took the boys up to Loch Lomond, and by the way, that's not like a one-off. When I was at St Johnstone, the first ever Monroe I climbed we done it as a team bonding thing with St Johnstone, so I understand what he's trying to do. The situation is, he's sitting where he's are in the league. He's been absolutely horrendous. They boys should be told, and I know for a fact Derek would do it, because Jim Jeffries would, anytime we get beaten, he'd be like, see if you need to go for a carton of milk, send your wife. Other than that, you stay in the house, you come to the training ground, you work twice as hard, you go to the games, and see, once you're winning, then we can go and climb we can go to Loch Lomond and skinny dip, and we can go and climb whatever mountain we want to climb. That's what Derek would do. That's what an old school manager would do. And again, mate, you're talking about Rangers here. It's an institution the exact same as what Celtic is. This is you're talking thousands of fans, generation. Like, I grew up in a wee mining village outside Ayrshire, which is completely Rangers, from father to son, mother to daughter. It's just that is it. Why would they not go and get somebody who has worked under Walter, worked under Archie? For me, I think he's the best Scottish manager that we've got right now. So why would they not go and get, and he's played for the club, he supports the club. Why would you not go and get him and say, do you know what? more than anything else, mate, they need to unite the fans. I think I spoke to my mates today who are going in at the weekend, and I think, what is it, 20,000 tickets have sold?
There's loads of empty seats, thousands.
That's a travesty, mate. It's an absolute travesty. If I'm the owner of Rangers right now, I'm saying, see, instead of complicating it, how simple do we make it? Now, there'll be Rangers fans that will say, Derek McInnes, no, for me, he had his chance. I've had it with some of my mates. But for me, it's the only option. It's the only one I can see is either they bring Barry back, which plugs a gap, and you kind of hope that it works, or, and Hearts fans will hate me for saying that, you just go and get Derek, and you just say, do you know what? We made a mistake, and it's torture on Hearts, but we're Glasgow Rangers. We're coming to get you and see if we want you. Mate, see 5-10 years ago, see Rangers and Celtic, see if they wanted somebody, they went and got them. That was it.
Yeah. But I don't think they'll make that move. And by the way, from a Hearts perspective, you really don't want that, because what an opportunity you've got here this season, Ryan.
No, 100%. Listen, I don't, as a Hearts fan, that's the last thing that I want to happen. I think Hearts will literally be sitting there saying, we'll take it a game at a time. Let's just keep chipping away. I said that last week on the show, that I think it's the first time that I can remember that Rangers and Celtic have sort of been imploding at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just stay under the radar as much as we can. Go about our business.
I think you blew that at the weekend, mate.
And the biggest thing is, can they keep chipping away? And when the Celtic game comes round, can they go to Celtic, or can they play Celtic, and can they make an off statement? And then if they do that, see where it goes for there.
Yeah, I mean, what have you made? Couple of things, Ryan, before you go. One, from the Celtic perspective, you guys looking at it from Tynecastle, you must be rubbing your hands a bit at the thought that there's, internal warfare, there's protests. If there was ever a season to have a real dig at them and a wrestle around with them, it feels like it might be now. Is that helping fuel this sort of a feeling expectation, or is that what you're desperately trying to keep?
Yeah, not for me
right now.
Not for me right now. I think obviously in Brendan Rodgers, regardless of the situation that's going on, they've got a manager that's been there, done it, up here, tried, tested. For Hearts, I think it would really, honestly, it's so, we say it all the time, and it is so simple. It's just take it game by game, because we know how quickly three or four kind of bad results, a draw here or a loss there, and they're right back at it again, and then we're saying, but what was that all about? So I think
look at Aberdeen last season, for example.
Exactly. What I do think, mate, is I think if they get to Christmas time, to January time, and they're there or thereabouts, I think Tony Bloom will go big again. I genuinely do, because he would love nothing more in his first season to come up and go, I told you so. And I was one of the guys that said there's no chance I didn't even think they'll split Rangers and Celtic. So I think he'll have the grit between his teeth as well, to, if they're there or thereabouts at Christmas time, to go big again in the January window.
All right, mate. Well, listen, before you go, I also wanted, because I thought some of the stuff in the column was interesting, and what you referred to there earlier about, going skinny dipping, etc., etc. One of the things that I found difficult to comprehend, and I'm asking you as a former player, Ryan, Russell Martin talking about his players being scared. Now, I wonder how that chat plays in the dressing room, and I wonder how you regard that, because
mate, if he said that, if a manager said that to me, I'd want to fight them. I mean, mate, do you know what? It comes with the territory of being a Rangers player and being mate, you play. Honestly, it just frustrates the life at me. I don't understand how a manager can come out and say players are anxious, players have got anxiety. Mate, you're playing for Rangers or Celtic, man. Jesus, what do you expect?
Mm-hmm. It's the price of the ticket.
Listen, that is what it is. It's the same when you listen to people and they're saying, Man United, and it's just such a heavy shirt to wear. Mate, imagine being a soldier on the front line and having to dodge a bullet. That's a heavy shirt. You've got the opportunity. Man, these guys have got the opportunity to play for Rangers, and it's a footballer's dream. You get the opportunity to play for a massive club. Just, mate, do you know what they need to do? And it's genuinely, it isn't rocket science. Go out and run a bit. Go out, run a bit. Playing against Hearts. See, as soon as they went 1-0 down against Hearts, did you ever see any player nail somebody, or just go, do you know what? So that's no anxiety, mate. That's just bad players. That's just bad football players. And the fact that they've just got absolutely, they don't want to play for a badge. They've got no heart. They don't. And again, I was arguing with somebody else last week about it. That comes down to the identity of the club. They don't know what that club represents. They don't know what it's like to play for one of the old firm, because they don't know. They go, mate, it doesn't work out for a foreign player. He gets on a plane and he goes home.
Mm-hmm.
We all understand what it is to play for Rangers and Celtic. Sitting there saying, my players have got anxiety, it's the biggest cop-out ever. Could you imagine Walter Smith coming on, or Brendan Rodgers, like any good manager coming on and going, listen, I want you to feel a wee bit sorry for my players. I've got anxiety, and we need to find our way through this.
If you were in an opposition dressing room and you heard the manager of the team through the wall coming out and admitting publicly that his team were scared and they couldn't pluck up the courage to go and play, I can only imagine you'd be sitting there rubbing your hands going, right, this is so set for us.
You'd be in the tunnel, kicking the wall, screaming, walking out. You would be looking at them. Honestly, the first thing you'd be thinking about was, I'm nailing him, let's go. Like, again, mate, it just goes back to simple things. If we were sitting in the changing room, you're going, see the first 5 minutes, knock it in the corners, let's get them chasing back towards their own goal, because if they've got anxiety, they'll have more anxiety facing their own goal than what they will facing our goal. So let's put pressure on them. Mate, honestly, I could imagine Hibs' training this week will be through the roof.
Yeah.
Through the roof. They will be bouncing into training every day. I'd imagine every single player there will be fighting to play. No one get into this game at the weekend. I mean, if you're a Hibs player, you're going, what a chance I've got to make an opportunity for myself.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant, Ryan. I knew it was going to be worth getting you on. Brilliant column, brilliant contribution to Hotline Live, big man, and I hope we'll catch up soon.
Cheers, mate. See you soon.
Cheers, big man. Doesn't tend to hold back, does he, Scott?
What a breath of fresh air, man. Absolutely brilliant.
But he talks so much sense.
I totally agree with everything he's said, 100%. Right for what he said at the start about football in general, too many bluffers and hipsters and just bluffers in the game. I find, and that's a big problem. And in terms of Rangers and McInnes, I totally agree. I mean, it's like Rangers need to get back to basics, Jacko, and by bringing a Barry Ferguson or a Derek McInnes back in, obviously that's what you would get. But look, the reason Rangers haven't went for Derek McInnes, and you know this, we've spoken about this loads of times. There's a snobbery there. No, there's a snobbery about going and getting a Scottish manager, and I don't know why. I don't know why that is.
And that's the point that Ryan was making about Hearts. He said you can't let Hearts off the hook. This one was staring them in the face for long enough. And it's his belief that Hearts just got lucky that, that Rangers didn't take him away before they did.
You're right. Look, see, when you think about it, before Hearts appointed Neil Critchley, on what basis can any normal person that knows anything about Scottish football or Hearts, on what basis would you sit down and go, right, Neil Critchley or Derek McInnes? I think Neil Critchley is the better bet for us. That is just ludicrous. And Rangers have been guilty of decisions like that as well, and I keep going back to it. Fed up saying it, and the ship sailed now. But Lewis Ferguson should have been at Rangers 2 years ago or 3 years ago, maybe even longer than that. To me, Lewis Ferguson was...
Well, he was there, wasn't he? And he got told he was 2E or something.
Aye, when he was younger.
Yeah.
But Ryan's talking about answers staring you in the face. You think of the midfielders that Rangers have went through in that time, and Lewis Ferguson's on their doorstep. No, a Rangers fan.
It's the same as the Celtic John McGinn situation, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a snobbery, Jacko. And I've said this about Rangers as well in years gone past. I don't know whether it goes back to obviously when they went down the leagues and they felt as if other clubs had turned against them. It's almost like they don't want to pay for anybody for another club. They want to give any money to another
I think
Scottish
there is a
club.
bit of that. I think that is right. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know whether that, they've managed to get rid of that now. Obviously, it's a new board and stuff like that. But the snobbery is unbelievable. No getting Lewis Ferguson, no want McInnes. People turning their nose up at guys who are staring in the face. I even think there's a wee bit of that with Barry Ferguson when he initially got the job as interim. I think Barry actually won a lot of fans round in that short space of time. But initially, people turning their nose up. Why is he turning? Nobody knows that club better than Barry Ferguson. He's been there and done it. Do you know what I mean?
When it was successful, and therefore
Aye.
knows what the standards should look and feel like.
Exactly.
Here's one for Scott. Hoopsaholic writes in, there is no crisis at Celtic other than the one the press are making. There is protest for change, but it's about taking the club forward and not plodding along safely. Right, okay, well, a couple of matters there, Hoopsaholic. I don't know if you watched Brendan Rodgers' press conference the other day, if you've been aware of how fraught things have become behind the scenes there. There is quite clearly an issue. It's not a crisis. Celtic are sitting top of the league, but there are certainly issues. You've got, as I'm sure you know, supporters that stayed away from the stand at Rugby Park at the weekend for 12 minutes to vent their fury at the board, to protest, to ask for heads to roll. And Scotty, that's why I asked or I mentioned that just now, because speaking to Ryan Stevenson there about Hearts and this opportunity that they've got this season, do you think that it becomes more realistic while there is, Rangers are almost out of the thing altogether already after 5 games, but Celtic, it continues to feel uneasy. Does that open a door to Hearts? Is it real?
It's certainly opened a door, Jacko. There's an opportunity there that I think in most seasons wouldn't be there, but circumstances, it's as if things have just aligned. Celtic, as you say, the problems at Celtic, the kind of infighting, this kind of split in terms of the board and the fans, and obviously, you say Brendan Rodgers not being happy with the transfer window, loads of things like that, as you say, just make Celtic look a wee bit more vulnerable than they normally are. So it's certainly an opportunity. Do I think Hearts can realistically go and fight with Celtic for a title? Probably no, because as Ryan touched on, I still think when you've got Brendan Rodgers in charge, you've got that squad of players, and even just going through, look, we know the squad isn't as strong as it should be, or isn't as strong as it was last season, but still a fairly strong group of players there. Big players that have been, that have had huge success there. McGregor, Carter Vickers, Maida, the list goes on. Alistair Johnson, Kasper Schmeichel. I mean, it's still tough. I think it will still be tough, I think, for Hearts to go and challenge for a title. But in terms of Rangers...
Scotty, don't Hearts just need to do what everybody was saying that Rangers needed to do over the last wee while, which is win your other games. Be better than the rest. If they can do that, and if they can get consistent run of victories, consistent run of results, they're not going to be miles away. They're going to be there or thereabouts, surely.
No, I think you're right, but that's obviously tough to do. That
is a big if, yeah.
That's a fact, because otherwise people be doing it every season. It's tough. The thing Hearts have got in their favour is, Derek McInnes has said this, I think he actually touched on it on Saturday after the game. When he looked at his bench, he had real depth there. Do you know what I mean? And that's... but he was missing Frankie Kent in the record signing. Agiu was missing at the weekend. They've still to come back, but he looked at his bench and it was strong. It was a strong starting 11. I mean, he had a couple of issues in the second half. He was able to turn around the guys that are kind of proven at this level. He could go and put on. I think the key thing, Jacko and Ryan said it there, the key thing for Hearts is to still be within touching distance in January. So even get to January and you're still in it, for once, they can actually go and strengthen again.
And Tony Bloom will strengthen, as Ryan said. I can see Tony Bloom will stick his hand in his pocket, no doubt about it, in January. And not only will he stick his hand in his pocket, he'll be all over the supercomputer and the algorithms identifying, look, here's what you need to make this better.
I was just about to say that there's actually no fear there about. There's no fear about going spending money, because they've got money. And Tony Bloom's obviously put £10 million pound into the club, and as you say, they've also got the Jamestown Analytics thing, which Look, I'll be honest, a bit like Ryan was saying, when it comes to that kind of stat-based recruitment and stuff, I'm a wee bit sceptical. But you have to say the early signs at Hearts in terms of the players they've brought in are good. I think Claudio Braga looks a brilliant signing for them. For what they've paid. I think he looks ideal for Scottish football, and he strikes me as, or he looks like a guy who's going to go and make them a profit. I think there's a few others there, like Chizidis, who was really good at the weekend as well. I like Cabangu, who came in last season, who's now like a backup striker for them. So they've got a real opportunity if they can just get to January. The money's there, the analytics are there to go and strengthen. They can maybe wheel a deal. Listen, come January, Derek McInnes might feel there's one or two that haven't worked out. They can maybe move them on, but they get better ones in. And if you do that in January, then you at least give yourself a chance. And that's us talking about challenging Celtic, which I've said is going to be tough. In terms of the Rangers situation, there's absolutely, especially after Saturday, obviously, there's absolutely no reason why Hearts shouldn't be looking to finish second in the league. Surely people must be that now.
I think Derek McInnes, he probably won't admit it, but I think that would be his minimum aim now for this season. Now that he's got off to the start, he's looking over at Ibrox, he's seeing the state that they've gotten themselves into over there, and I genuinely think that he'll be looking at that going, right, that, as I said, I'm not sure that he would put the pressure on himself by saying it in public, but I think that'll be the minimum target. Tynecastle Talk says, question, Keith and Scott, what are your opinions on JT Analytics? Well, we've talked about this previously. I'm all for it. I'm all for it as long as it's used correctly. And I think where Hearts have won a watch here and where they've done the right thing with Derek McInnes is Derek McInnes will take the best things from the analysis and the data and all that, but he uses his own eyes. And I think that's a winning combination. I don't think you can be completely reliant on it, but I do think that sort of technological advancement, it's there to help, it's there to assist, but it doesn't make a good manager better. It doesn't tell you everything that you need to know about the player, and I think that's a lot of where the Rangers recruitment has gone wrong, Scott.
Yeah,
it might seem like a good idea, but unless you're actually doing your proper due diligence, speaking to people, getting character references, it can be hit and miss. But I like it, and I think Hearts have got the right guy there to utilise it properly to their advantage.
Right. And you know what? I think the best example of that, Jacko, this season is Stuart Finlay going to Hearts.
That didn't come up in Jamestown Analytics.
Exactly. That's my point. So there's no way. I'm not saying he would be too far away, but I don't think for a minute in Jamestown Analytics stats, Stuart Finlay would have come up as the top of the tree when it came to left-sided centre-backs to go to Hearts. I think there would be people obviously further afield. But that's where this can work. If Derek McInnes is kind of accepting Jamestown Analytics and maybe bringing players in that he's not aware of and he's having to watch, that's fine. But at the same time, Hearts accept Derek McInnes has proved he's a good manager and proved that he knows what's required in a player to be successful in Scottish football. So in the summer, when they're looking for a left centre-back, he would have had a list of names. But I think Derek McInnes at that point said, listen, thanks for all your names, but I don't need them, because here's the guy we need to go and get, and here's why. And they go and get it done. And just in terms of the whole kind of Tony Bloom and Jamestown thing, USG last night, Union Saint-Gilles who's obviously Tony Bloom's got investment in, 3-1 winners in the Champions League away to PSV. And obviously people have been posting the day their kind of first 11, where they've come for players that haven't cost a lot of money, Jacko, for leagues that you maybe wouldn't look at. And it just goes to show, listen, I'm not saying Hearts, it's going to go that way for Hearts, still a long way to go, but it does show what can be achieved when you get your recruitment absolutely spot on. And you can
Brighton are obviously Brighton are the sort of jewel in the crown for that, aren't they? Their recruitment is just ridiculous. How good they manage to source players for, and it's all relative. They are paying more money than Hearts realistically would look to afford. But they're selling these players on for 10, 12, 15, 20 times what they bought them for. It's incredible. So, and the Sancho Waz example, Scott, you're right. So for all these reasons, I'm not, and I know Swanee kind of is very cautious about it, and Mick Gannon as well. Well, you need to wait and see. He asked me after 20 games. I think all the ingredients are there right now for Hearts. Now, Scott, moving on to the weekend, 4 League Cup ties. Kelly versus St Mirren on the Friday. I think it's Ichi Peachy.
Yeah.
On the Saturday, you've got potentially games that could, take the head off 2 managers. Aberdeen at home to Motherwell, Rangers at home to Hibs.
Yep.
And I would go as far to say as if Jimmy Tulline loses to Motherwell and if Russell Martin loses to Hibs, there's 2 managers out of work. What's the date? We're not even, 20 days into September.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's incredible, Jack, of those 2 games. I've not looked at the prices yet, but the 2 away teams, Motherwell going to Pittodrie and Hibs going to I think the 2 away teams are favourites in those games, which is incredible. I think. I mean, Motherwell will be rubbing their hands, I think, going to Pittodrie the way. I know Motherwell
have only had a goal scorer.
Aye. I know they've not picked up victories, but by all accounts, I've not seen all their games, obviously, but by all accounts, the football they're playing is scintillating at times. And they've not quite put it all together. And as you say, they're lacking a bit of cutting edge up front. But getting into that game, knowing Aberdeen can't score a goal and are really toiling, I think it's made for Motherwell to go up there and get a result. And it's the exact same with Hibs. I'm actually fascinated to go and look at the odds for the Rangers Hibs game, because I don't know how anybody could make Rangers favourites for this game, given what's happened.
It feels the exact same as it did last week. I was tipping Hearts. I said I couldn't see Hearts leaving Ibrox with anything worse than a draw, but I strongly suspected Hearts would win that game. And I feel the exact same way for Hibs' chances at Ibrox this weekend.
This is a problem with Rangers, and look, I've kind of mentioned this before. You're not seeing any signs of progress, obviously, under Russell Martin. That's a big thing I think that's getting, that's annoying the fans. There's nothing for them to cling on to, and people are asking me, is this the worst you've seen at Rangers? And I've seen bad Rangers teams, but I don't ever remember watching a Rangers team and thinking genuinely, I don't know where the next victory's coming from. I don't know where Rangers are winning their next game, because on current form and with everything that's going on, I just find it impossible to see Rangers winning on Saturday night against Hibs.
Our wee pals just got in touch there, Kyle Gunn, 16-5 Hibs, Scott, if you fancy it.
Wow, what a price that is. What a price that is. I mean, if you're a Hibs fan, you're all over that. And as I said, if Rangers lose it, as you've said, Rangers lose it, that could be the last straw for Russell Martin. Don't know who's going to come in, what happens next. Their next game, away to Livy. If there's one place you don't want to be going, scrambling for a victory, it's going to Livy.
Europa League as well in there, haven't they?
Of course, they've got Genk at Ibrox.
Are we both, I guess, pretty sure that Celtic will come through at Partick Thistle, Scott?
Aye. Listen, that'll be a decent game, but Thistle have started the season okay, but I watched them last week when they kind of stole a win at home to Airdrie. They won 2-1, showed good character to come back, but they weren't great in the game, so you'd imagine Celtic will win that fairly comfortably.
By the way, here's one. Michael Walsh says, Hibs -1, easy money.
You'd be all over it. Half-time, full-time, the lot.
We'll go back to where we started, Scott, in terms of the breaking news at the top of the show. Sources at Rangers have confirmed to Record Sport and Hotline Live that they have been in receipt of a number of, what would we say, not CVs or applications, but certainly they are aware of a number of managers who are ready to step in should a decision be taken to bring Russell Martin's short tenure to an end. Short tenure, Scott, this would be his 13th game. In his last 8 games, it's 4 defeats, 3 draws, 1 win. That one came against Alloa in the Premier Sports Cup. No wonder you're sitting there saying Hibs look like a decent bet for this.
Exactly. No, the record's dire. I mean, it's just dire. There's no getting away from it. I keep going back to this point. Russell Martin said the day he was unveiled that he was coming in to change things at Rangers, revamp the squad, change the mentality, change the culture. But he accepted that he had to do that while winning games. And that he just no done it. No, he's failed in that regard. There's no getting away from that. Patrick Stewart said the same thing. What was it? We need to fly the plane while building it. It's just no happened. So no, I mean it's the most obvious thing in the world. But Russell Martin has to win on Saturday. I mean, the thought. I spoke to an ex-Rangers player the day, and he said it himself. The thought of Rangers being 10th in the table and out of the League Cup, mid-September, it's just unthinkable. Unthinkable.
Well, is there not a scenario, Scott, that because Rangers are in cup duty, that they could fall to the actual 12th place, the bottom of the table before the next kick a ball?
They could. There's one slight problem with that, Jacko, and I think Aberdeen would need to win 2 games, which is
right. Okay, well that's not going to happen.
They can't win one, so it's incredible. Even at the game on Saturday, at post match, and you're writing some of these stats. The stats that you rhymed off there: 1-1-8 against Alloa, worst start to a league campaign in 47 years. It's incredible. And going right back to the start, with your story about them no speaking to managers or not being interested in speaking to anybody, that just shows that as it stands at the moment, they are 100% behind this guy and think that it's going to turn round, despite fan protest, despite the toxicity that was at Ibrox on Saturday for the stands, despite all of that. The owners and the new board look as if they're at this moment in time 100% behind Russell Martin. Now, whether that changes on Saturday, whether going out a cup that Rangers should obviously be looking to win, whether that changes the thinking, I'm not sure. But it's just impossible to see how he turns this around. How they go and win that game on Saturday and somehow go on a big winning run, because that's the only thing it's going to save him in the fans' eyes.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I think it's gone too far for that, Scott. I think when you've got fans protests and then you've got fans groups tripping over each other to put statements out, calling for heads and all that, I don't think there's any way back. That's why I think it's naive and arrogant for the Rangers board to have taken the stance that they've taken. And I think that, making it clear that they don't even want to speak to other people right now, I think that could backfire on them spectacularly. But let's see what the next 24 hours brings. It's never a dull place, Scott. Thanks for joining us, Scotty. Thanks for Ryan Stevens for joining earlier. Loved that. And thanks for all your comments for the people watching back home. Much appreciated. Don't have a show without you. But let's do it all again tomorrow at 6 p.m. See you guys.